Okay, get everything ready. Set. Grab my drink. Is he gone? I think so. I can't wait until he dies. Yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later. I hope so. He's talking about movies all the time. It's driving me insane. Oh shit. I gotta start soon. Hearing shit. And now, here's a commercial. Self-Care Solutions, your solution to self-care. This is the app for meditation, so breathe in and out. Very good. Breathe in and breathe out. Excellent. Now, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Keep going. Breathe in. Breathe in.
I can't breathe
What?
in anymore.
What was that?
I can't breathe in anymore.
Yes, you can. Just breathe in.
can't breathe in
Yes, you can. Breathe in. Try eating the air. There you go. Eat it. Now, once you're done eating it, hold your breath for 17, 16.
Why are you starting so hot?
What? You made me lose my train of thought. I'll have to start over. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 2, 1. Breathe out. Are you breathing out? Hello! 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 What up? Hey, welcome back to Popcorn Poppin. I have sensitive teeth, and I really shouldn't be eating ice cream when I'm doing a show, but I really wanted ice cream, so if you don't like it, just shut it off. Hopefully I'll be done fast, because it is kind of hard to talk when you have something so cold in your mouth. Anyways, welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. You don't have time to figure out what movie to stream or what show to binge or whether you should go out to see this or that on the big screen or the small screen. There's too much content in the world and you can't be wasting your time. So let me be the time waster for you by looking at everything that's vaguely interesting and letting you know which one is poppin' and which one ain't. This week, we'll be going over our Spotlight Marvel films. Those being The Marvels and The Killer. We'll also be talking about the Loki season and or series finale and also rap shit. But first, we'll be talking about the striking news of the strike ending, which is pretty dope. I guess it's not technically official because everyone has to vote on it. And apparently that takes a while. The actors are, according to Deadline, the actors are set to vote on the tentative agreement with studios after the SAG-AFTRA National Board approved the deal. However, National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland said that the board only approved the deal by 86%, which is not a unanimous vote. The WGA, Writers Guild of America, which saw 99% of WGA members vote for their own 3-year deal. Voting will begin on Tuesday, according to Crabtree, and will end in the first week of December. Voting will take slightly longer and is more complicated than the WGA as a result of large member base. WGA has about 11,000 members, while the SAG has 160,000 members, with folk that will need to vote using paper rather than online, while the WGA only took a week to do it. So it's basically over. They have to finish the voting. Man, I need more fluoride in my mouthwash because that hurt my teeth. My teeth see weetsies. Anyways, a lot of movies are going back into production now, and a lot of things have been switched around. For instance, some movies have started from scratch of reshooting everything that they have already shot, basically. One being Deadpool 3, they were already into filming by the time the strike happened. They're just restarting from scratch. There's a lot of other projects that are doing that as well, but a lot of productions are going back into production, like Abbott Elementary, amongst others. But they are moving the release from Deadpool 3 from May to July of next year. And they also pushed back Captain America for 6 months when they were already done filming. And I think that I heard, I don't know if it's true, and I didn't do more research on it after hearing such, but I also hear that it was tested so poorly that they decided to reshoot like everything. So not a good look on Marvel, but we'll talk more on that a little bit later. You know what else isn't a good look? Putting completed works of art on the shelf. The WB was in a lot of talks, like last year? I think it was last year when they decided to shelf Batgirl. They were basically done with principal photography, and it was a very, very rough cut of what was going to be released with CGI not being finished. This, I think it was the same thing. I do know that filming was completely finished, and they probably had some animation in there, but it probably wasn't the finished product. However, tests, audiences, and critics and filmmakers said that the new Looney Tunes movie, which was Coyote versus Acme, it was basically a court case of Wile E. Coyote, like suing Acme, and it starred John Cena. The live action animation hybrid, similar to Space Jam or Looney Tunes Back in Action, has been shelved by the WB in lieu of getting a fucking $30 million tax write-off on a $70 million film. It's ridiculous. While there was interest from other outside buyers, Rolling Stone has said that a source says Warner Brothers made clear that the movie was not for sale. The studio publicly blamed the decision on a shift in global strategy to focus on theatrical releases in light of relaunching its animation department in June. But the film was testing positively with audiences, 14 points above the norm for a family film, a source reveals. Warner Brothers is a mess, they say. They obviously are carrying the staggering debt. They probably have certain minimums and obligations they must owe their creditors, which are motivating them to make bizarre choices. They're just not in sync with how the business has been run. It's devilishly destructive. I concur. I fucking love the Looney Tunes. If you ever seen Looney Tunes Back in Action, you should check it out. Space Jam 2 wasn't that bad. This would have been awesome. I'm so angry about it. I'm pretty sure if you like Workaholics or if you're part of the TII Nation, Blake Anderson and Durs, I think we're both supposed to be in it. At least one of them. And they already got the Workaholics movie canned. Now they got this movie shelved. Shelving is worse than canning a movie because you've completed it all and it's just sitting there, never to be seen again. It's wild. I wonder if they'll ever release this or Batgirl in some sort of fashion. I don't know how. But we'll never know. It's so nuts to me that you can just shelf an entire movie, especially after people are saying positive things. This was also going to only be released on Max. On Max. And they changed it to a theatrical release, and then they decided to do the write-off. It's really wild because I think Tom and Jerry, what they released on Max, I think that would have done well at the box office because it was received positively. And I feel like they went by that model with figuring out, oh, Looney Tunes should be released in theaters. I think people will like it. And they decided to shelve it completely. I don't know. It's sad, but what are you going to do? All right, here's a batch of what has been on. So first and foremost, big episode, big season, big stuff. So some spoilers are going to happen right now, so be aware. Loki ended with Loki turning into Doctor Who. Loki is no longer the god of mischief. He is Doctor Who. After figuring out how to basically time travel or time slip, which is basically time traveling, he has learned to basically keep going back to the same point in time over and over again to help learn everything about quantum physics that Kei Kwan's character knows. And it takes literally centuries, and we don't see all the centuries. It just jumps centuries ahead. Then we see a bit of trial and error for all this new knowledge that Loki has. And at first I didn't like it because I was like, if you're really doing the centuries later thing, it's going to be a completely different Loki. This is him turning into a god of time, basically. Doctor Who. And as the episode progressed, I'm like, if he fixes everything, he can't just go back to everything being hunky-dory after having centuries of knowledge in his head. And of course, that's not how it goes. So we re-meet He Who Remains, who does not seem surprised at the time slippage that Loki has presented. And instead of freaking out, he knew that he would eventually figure it out. And he tells him that the time loom, that big portal thing that was holding all of the timelines together, is a failsafe for upon destruction, all the timelines will cease to exist, leaving only the sacred timeline to itself. Now, Loki says that there has to be another way, and he tries to figure it out. While He Who Remains gives him two options yet again. Either let the time loom be destroyed, leaving only the sacred timeline to itself, thus destroying all other timelines, or kill Sylvie before she kills Kang. And the reason that Loki tried probably for a century to stop her from killing Kang, and he can't. It's like he cannot possibly do it. It's impossible. And they figure this out through some other calculation that basically the time loom is so powerful you can't really change big significant events like that. I don't know how. Time jargon. There was a lot of time jargon in this episode, and it was absent at the end when there should have been. So he decides not to kill Sylvie, and he decides not to let the time loom be destroyed, but instead he turns into Super Loki and physically grabs each timeline and holds them all together, sitting on the throne that he was always destined to be on. The series opened with an episode called A Glorious Purpose. And the final episode that was just aired was also called A Glorious Purpose. This episode ended like a series finale, and I would be actually kind of cool with them ending the series like this, but it was weird how they presented itself. There was no exposition dialogue like, whoa, Loki's saving us by doing this, this, and that. You just see him grab timelines, and each of the timelines turn green. And after you hear them say, oh, the timelines are dying, he seems to be resurrecting them through godlike magic. And he is the god of time, it seems like. But no dialogue is describing what he's doing. So you don't quite understand how he's doing it. You have an episode full of time jargon, and we are buying that he knows how to do things after centuries of training whilst learning about quantum physics and learning how to control time, like stop it or slip into different things or delete other things that are happening. It's a lot of confusing shit that happens in that episode, specifically at the end. And I totally buy that he had centuries of knowledge. Don't worry how he learned how to hold time all together. But why I'm confused if this is a thing that's good or if this is a thing that's along He Who Remains' plan is you don't see He Who Remains' reaction to this. I'd like to have seen him go, curse you, Loki. I didn't think of that one. I didn't think of that time. But instead, you don't have He Who Remains at all. So is this the end of Loki? It seems like it's the end of Loki. If this is the final episode of the series, then I think that we will see Loki at least one more time, because it's kind of the same thing of something that happens in the Marvels, which I'll get into later. But we have a device that is happening where, not a device, a plot in the MCU where someone is holding all the multiverse together, whether it's Kang or He Who Remains or a different Kang who wants to destroy all the timelines or control them. They would have to go through Loki. So I think it's possible that down the line, and by the way, I've been pretty wrong with figuring out what's going to happen in certain things. So this is probably all bullshit. I think down the line, a character is going to be like, oh no, in probably like the Avengers, the next Avengers movie. Oh no, they're trying to destroy time. We have to go warn Loki, who's holding it all together. And then we have one scene with Loki where he's like, oh, it's okay. I saw this happen 1,000 times. You'll have to kill me too. And then they end up killing him, or I don't know, something like that. So I don't think this is the last time we'll see Loki. But I do think it was the last episode. I'm sorry I'm eating this. It's so delicious. I can't wait for it to end, though. Poppin' or not, I liked this season more than the first season, although it was much more confusing, but it was a lot more badass. And that final episode was very epic, and it looked dope. You just don't quite know what's happening in that long final sequence. But you can be the judge of yourself and let me know if I'm talking shit or if I'm talking correctly. Yeah. What else came out? Invincible, which you can watch on Prime on Fridays. There are 2 episodes in. So they introduced the multiverse. Everyone's got multiverse. The reason I'm more cool with this is because I trust Robert Kirkman. This show is based on a comic book series. So I think that they're introducing multiverse because this is how it's supposed to happen, just like the comic books. It's not the main focus of the season, thank God, but it does seem like it's like the main plot. But it's going to be recurring, even though it's what the first episode was about. The second episode walked away from it until the very end of the episode, where they show Sterling K. Brown's character looking pretty villain going through timelines. So the show is still popping, and they bring back a lot of storylines that you may have forgotten about the first season, like the Martians and them infiltrating Earth, and a little bit more of what's going on with Mom trying to cope with what happened with Omni-Man and her son. And there's a really good dramatic scene of her in a cupboard door and Invincible walking in. It's a very human scene, and it's one of the most human scenes you'll see, especially in an animated superhero series. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Next up. All right, I finished Blue Eye Samurai. This came out last week, but I didn't have a chance to finish it. If you haven't seen the show, check it out. It is a great series. I won't give you any spoilers, except that this is about let me see. This is about a samurai who seeks revenge in Edo period Japan. It's so good. It was created by Michael Green and Amber Noizumi, who are a married couple based off of their child that they had together that came out with blue eyes. They decided to do a story about what would happen if a half-breed character was born into Edo, Japan, and how they would be respected or disrespected. It's an excellent show. The animation's tremendously great. There's good cinematography. The violence is crazy. And there's such great choreographed scenes of action and swordplay that you don't see in a lot of other things. You can see where their influences are, like Kill Bill or anything Akira Kurosawa has made, basically. But it's a great, great show. It's only 8 episodes long. Some episodes are around 35 minutes. Others are about 46 minutes. So keep in mind, it's about hour-long episodes. And I would have been happier if this would have been a self-contained mini-series of just 8 episodes. But they definitely left room for a season 2 and a season 3 or 4, depending on how they're thinking everything's going to lay out. But as far as I can tell, it's a very high reviewed series. People seem to love it. I just don't know how many people are watching it. I keep trying to tell people at work, and everyone's like, yeah, maybe I'll check it out. No one's checking it out. So I'm telling you to check it out. It's popping. Probably the best new animated thing you'll watch this year, for sure. I will also say the 6th episode is my favorite. Episodes 7 and 8, as epic as they may be, they're just not as good as episode 6. Like how it all ends, I was like, episode 6 was better. And it didn't even have an ending. Episode 6 is so good. Anyways, check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. The other series that I finished that came out last week was This Is a Mini-Series based off of a book directed by Sean Levy and written by Stephen Knight about the story of Marie Laure, a blind French teenager, and Werner, a German soldier, whose paths collide in occupied France as both try to survive the devastation of World War II. Stephen Knight wrote Peaky Blinders, amongst other things. Sean Levy directed Night of the Museums' Free Guy, and the upcoming Deadpool 3, set to be released next July. This is not necessarily a feel-good show. It's told in a fairy tale fashion, as if any family member can watch it, no matter how old you are, and see what is beautiful about World War II and what is terrible about World War II, while also having hope of love and, all that shit. Mark Ruffalo's in it. Hugh Laurie's in it. It's popping. It's a very well-made show. It's only 4 episodes long, so it's not much to commit to. I will say, episode 2 I did not like. It really put me out of the show. It put me out of the show so much I wanted to stop watching. Episode 2 and maybe episode 3 are very heavy with flashbacks and what happens presently with the blind girl in World War II and this German soldier trying to help her in the midst of war is much more thrilling than all the flashbacks to help develop the story of what the hell's going on. Mark Ruffalo's good and everything, but Hugh Laurie's very, very great in this series. It's good to see him. I know that he's a great actor, but him like primarily for comedy. At least I do. Like for a bit of Fry and Lore, or a bit of Fry and Hugh. I can't remember what it's called, and other shit. Anyways, check it out. It's not a necessity. I think you'll see the fairy tale aspect that I'm describing, where some beats seem not corny, but what's the word? Hokey. Some scenes seem hokey. That doesn't mean it's a bad series by any means, but be the judge for yourself by watching it all on Netflix right now. Rick and Morty, Adult Swim on Sundays. New episode tonight. Not again. No salsa to drink. All right. I feel like if I'm going to die, it's going to be during recording this because I'm always choking on something. Anyways, what was Rick and Morty's newest episode? I can't even remember it, which isn't good. This season it doesn't hit like the others. And it really does feel like Justin Roiland's gone. You hear a lot more Morty in the last episode. I remember that much. But Rick just doesn't sound like Rick anymore. It takes you out of the show. It's a bummer. But it's still Rick and Morty, You're still going to laugh a bunch. And you're still going to enjoy the series, but you're going to notice a difference. And I think we got like 4 more seasons too. So just get your shit together. And if you have to recast, because this guy I don't think this guy is going to sound any more like Rick than we would like. But Justin Roiland hardly sound like a good Rick in episode 1 of season 1 of the series. 30 coins. I think the second season's still on right now. It's about Father Vergara, an exorcist, boxer, and ex-convict exiled to remote town in Spain who enlists the help of the mayor and veterinarian when a series of paranormal phenomena begins to occur. I've watched a couple episodes. It's a really good show with a lot of stupid moments of why would you do that? There's a lot of moments of why would you do that? That puts you out of the show. I can kind of see why looking at reviews when I first heard of this, like Max has been trying to make me watch the HBO Max. I don't know, Max has been trying to have me watch this a lot. Like, we think you'd like this. You should watch this. You should watch this. But I keep looking at IMDb and other critics stuff, and they're always like middling to like B+ basically. And I don't know. But after watching the trailer for the second season, I'm like, maybe this is really good. And it is good. There's just so many times, especially if you're black, you're watching a horror movie and you're screaming at the fucking screen. You're going to be doing that with this. It is basically a horror show, but it's full of shit like that. Like, bitch, run, or hey, why are you leaving that? Why are you telling him this? Why are you doing that? So I do think you should check it out. Keep in mind, it is in Spanish, so you will have to do a lot of reading. And I know people don't like to read. So keep in mind about those subtitles. 30 coins on Max. It's popping. Check it out. Bodies. This show came out a few weeks ago. I finally resumed it. I think I have 2 episodes left. It's really good, guys. I don't know where it's going, but each episode has more and it escalates with the amount of reveals that they have. But basically, there is a murdered body found on a street in 3 different timelines in the late 1800s, in the early 1900s, and in present day. There's also I'm just going to tell you now, there's a 4th timeline revealed at the end of the first episode of the same body being found in the future, but the body is not dead. It's the same person with the same way that they've died, found by different detectives in 4 different timelines. The episode I just watched, the present day detective finds out that this case has happened 2 other times. So it's very sci-fi, very trippy with I'm assuming time travel is part of this. But it's a wild show. If you're looking for a good sci-fi mystery that's a little less on the sci-fi part and a lot more on the mystery aspect, check out Bodies on Netflix. I'll let you know how it pans out at the end, because I will say this is a type of show that if the end isn't good, then it ruins the whole series. Hopefully it does have a good ending. I've heard good things, so we'll see. And the only other thing that I have watched is Fargo. I'm still in the first season. There's no way I'm going to catch up in time for the new season, which comes out, I think, November 21st. Stand by. New season starts November 21st. I can't believe I remembered that. So you can watch the entire series on Hulu. You'll have to rent Fargo, the movie, which basically the series is a sequel of the movie. And you don't find out how the movie and the show connect until episode 4 or 5 of the series. But it's great. The show is kind of annoying. I remember why I wasn't as invested into it, because I'm not shitting on Noah Hawley's writing, because I think his writing is good, especially after watching Legion, specifically the first season. But Fargo is a show where they try extremely hard to imitate Coen brothers, and it's annoying. It's like, yo, make it your own thing, which they eventually do a lot better. But the first season and maybe the second season is full of scenes and situations that are reminiscent of scenes and situations in all of Coen brothers movies, not just Fargo. And I don't want to watch an imitation of something. I want to watch it. You know, when I'm watching a remake, I don't want you to do a shot by shot remake. I want you to do it your own thing without taking too serious of liberties, depending on what they are, if that makes sense. Anyways, the show is great, and John Hamm's joining next season. The only reason I'm rewatching the series is because even though it's basically like an anthological series where each season is a different cast, characters do connect and events. Just like how a certain event connects from the movie to the television series. So you can be the judge yourself by watching Fargo on Hulu, not Hulu on Fargo. It's poppin'. All right, the honorable mentions of things that have come out this week that I either did not have time to watch or I did not want to watch, but think that I should mention to you because you might want to watch it. First one is The Holdovers. I wanted to watch this so bad yesterday or today, just didn't have time. It's directed by Alexander Payne, who did Election, Sideways, and The Descendants, and it stars the great Paul Giamatti, who plays a curmudgeonly instructor at a New England prep school who remains on campus during Christmas break to babysit a handful of students with nowhere to go. This is in select theaters right now. One other thing that kind of sucks, I was going to watch this movie today, but it's not in any AMC theaters, and I haven't used an AM. This month has been, or should I say last month, has been really slow when it comes to movies. Granted, I saw The Marvels in theaters, but I saw that at an MJR. Basically, what I'm getting at is I'm cheap, and if I have to pay for a movie ticket that isn't at an AMC, I will not pay for another ticket that's not at an AMC because I'm already paying for AMC. It's basically paying extra to watch a Netflix show when you have a subscription to Netflix. So that's why I didn't go see this, but I will hopefully be watching it this week. It looks really, really good. Poppin' for you, probably not unless you like kind of artsy movies. I would recommend to watch Election or The Descendants. Election is probably his best movie. Another thing that came out this weekend that I can't find in any select theaters around Metro Detroit, but the internet says it's out. It's called Dream Scenario, which stars Nicolas Cage as a hapless family man named Paul Matthews, who finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. Pretty cool storyline, and it's a comedy. And he plays a very boring looking dude who shows up in everyone's dreams. I don't think he does anything specific in these dreams. It's just people are like, "Hey, dude, you're in my dream. What the fuck?" And they're trying to figure out what it is. It looks pretty well made. Nicolas Cage has a lot of stinkers, which are somehow gold because of how wacky of an actor he is and of how great of an actor he is. But this one looks pretty cool, and it looks a lot more chill of a role too. I like when he does that, like the Weatherman. Next, Your Lucky Day, starring Angus Cloud, who has no days, sadly. This was his last thing he worked on before he passed. It is about when a dispute over a winning lottery ticket turns into a deadly hostage situation. The witnesses must decide exactly how far they're willing to go and how much blood they're willing to spill for a cut of $156 million. It takes place in like a gas station where there's like a married couple and a couple other patrons who see someone win the lottery, somehow die from Angus Cloud's character, like holding the place hostage, basically. And they all try to make a deal that if they get out of this alive, they'll split the $156 million pot. It looks pretty well made, and it was a great opportunity for him to actually lead a film like this, a pretty cool indie project that could lead to a lot more opportunities. But sadly, we won't be seeing him anymore. And yeah, this is another movie where I couldn't find any theaters in Metro Detroit playing it, but apparently, according to the internet, it's out. Do I think it's popping? I think it is popping, and I would love to watch it, but I can't. Hopefully, it'll be on streaming soon. Defending My Life, the Albert Brooks documentary, which I would recommend watching on... Oh, God, my phone. My bad. I would recommend... I don't know what this is. All right, sorry about that. I'd recommend watching a few of Albert Brooks's stuff. He is one of my favorite directors, but he's a comedy director. He's a great actor too. But Defending Your Life is one of my favorite movies, which you can watch on Max right now. It's a story about what life is and what happens after you die. Really, really cool storyline. It stars him and Meryl Streep. It's a comedy. It's an easy watch. Watch it. It's so cool. I would love to make a movie like this. It's one of my favorites, Defending Your Life on Max. You also might find his voice recognizable as for playing Marv on Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, or Hank Scorpio on The Simpsons. He also wrote, directed, and starred in Lost in America, Modern Romance. He was in Broadcast News, the remake of The In-Laws, which star him, Michael Douglas, and Ryan Reynolds. It's a great movie, but it's a remake, and it didn't do very well at the box office, but I loved it. It's a very easy, fun rom-com. Not a rom-com, buddy rom-com. And he was a villain in Drive. Great actor. You can watch this on Max. I need to get into documentaries, but I don't. It's very difficult for me to like sit down and like press play in a documentary. But I have every documentary I watch, I'm like, this is truly interesting, and I should watch documentaries so I can learn things. But I'm so addicted to fiction and non-real shit. I barely like movies that are based off of real, true stories. Like, I love the art of make-believe so much. But I also respect directors and actors so much that I want to watch this. I want to watch the Sylvester Stallone documentary. I think Arnold's got one too. Like, there's a bunch. Anyways, check this out if you like Albert Brooks. I believe Rob Reiner directed this documentary. It's super weird too, because it makes me think, like, is Albert Brooks dead? He's not dead. They just made a documentary about him. If you don't know who he is, watch Defending Your Life on Max. It's a great movie about what happens after you die. I love it. This isn't the Marbles. This is a weird-looking Jesse Eisenberg and Adrian Brody film called Manodrome. It's out in select theaters right now. Tormented by personal demons, Ralphie encounters a mysterious organization of men who welcome him as one of their own. As he struggles to define himself, pressure mounts and a powder keg is lit as he blows a hole in the lives of everyone he touches. This is in select theaters right now. Again, I couldn't find any theaters around me. This is not a movie that I think will be good in theaters. I think the cinematography looks very Birdman-esque. Looks very well done cinematography-wise. It seems to be a satire of like toxic masculinity. Seems very similar to a film that he's done before, The Art of Self-Defense. That's a pretty good film. I recommend it. It's kind of weird. It's cool. This looks weird, and it looks like his character goes fucking nuts in it too. I recommend checking out the trailer. It has very heavy Fight Club vibes too. It is Manodrome, Mano Drome. And Poppin or not, I think it is going to be a good movie. I just think that people aren't going to like it because it's about toxic masculinity, so it's not going to be a fun watch necessarily. But his character looks crazy in it. And Jesse Eisenberg, I don't like Jesse Eisenberg, but he picks really good projects. I can't take that away from him. And I'm not going to call him a bad actor, but why the fuck would you cast him as Lex Luthor? Why? It's a bad idea. I saw why, but like, what if he's a rich kid that's a villain and he's fucking weird as hell? Get Jesse Eisenberg on the phone right now. I didn't like it, but I do like the movies I do like the things that he chooses. I think he's good at that. Colin from Accounts is the final thing that I didn't watch that I think I will be watching, though. This is something I am interested in watching. I just didn't have time. This is on Paramount Plus Sundays. Ashley and Gordon are brought together by a car accident and an injured dog and learn to navigate life together while showing their true selves, scars, and all. This is a BBC show, I believe. And the only reason I want to watch it, after watching the trailer, I was like, I don't know if I'd really want to watch that, but it's high reviewed. And Patrick Bramall, who's the guy in the poster, he did a show called, he writes a lot of television series, but one of them is called No Activity. It's a great show where the last season, I think they did something weird with the second to last season as well. But the last season isn't animated. I couldn't watch it. Maybe the last two seasons was animated. I'm not sure. But the budget got lower and lower, but they kept making more and more episodes, which props to them because basically each scene is a two-person scene in one location of quirky dialogue, and all the situations end up connecting. It's hilarious. It's great. It is so good that I will watch a show that doesn't look that great to me, that I hear is good, that has the same writer actor in it. This is Colin from Accounts, Sundays on Paramount Plus. I think it already started. Now on to the Spotlight films. We're going to talk about that movie next week, so I didn't watch it. All right, The Marvels, the biggest movie in theaters right now. The lowest box office opening of any MCU film. It's because men hate women. I really think so. I think Captain Marvel was unjustly reviewed. It's not a bad movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but people were shitting on it so much. People are giving Brie Larson way too much shit. I don't know why. She's a fine actress. And she's a fine actress. But she's a fine actress. I love her. I really love Brie Larson. I saw a couple parts in here where I was like, yeah, I don't know about that acting. But that doesn't mean she's a bad actress. It's just like I was literally looking for moments of why people wouldn't like her. And I saw two. I can't really pinpoint them from memory right now. But there were two moments where I was like, yeah, I guess her face looked weird there or something. Like, she's not a bad actress, though. I don't know why people don't like her. But I will tell you, we got to give our flowers to the other Marvels in this. One being Teyonah Parris, who's only been in one fucking Marvel project. And that was the first one of this saga, which was in WandaVision. And she was great. I love Monica Rambeau. She's a badass, and she's got a really cool power that she really got to flex in this movie, which is dope. And I just wish she was sprinkled upon the MCU a lot more than 3 years later being in a movie. Poppin I also have to give my flowers to the best part of the movie, which is Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Super hilarious. Just so lovable. Last week, one of the Ishas asked me what movie gave me a hug. This character gave me a hug. I loved every line she had. She's so good. The actress is so goddamn good. And the character is so rich, and she just makes it so three-dimensional and so empathetic that she will fix anything in any scene, basically, except for the Miss Marvel television series. She will have you hold on to watching Miss Marvel in its entirety, but that show was all over the place a little bit. But she's great. She's always been great. Even in Miss Marvel, she was great. But she really had a chance to shine in this, and I hope more people go to the theater specifically just to see how she does and to see that this movie is popping. I feel like I can't stand by saying this, but I say it every time someone asks. And I must warn people, I have said before that I loved Justice League, not the Snyder Cut. Now I can't say that. So maybe I can't say love later, but I'll tell you why I can say love now. I loved this movie, and the reason I'm going to say that I can stand by it is because I can stand by the fact that I want to watch this movie again. And I don't want to watch this movie again to be like, well, is it really good? Or maybe it isn't. No, I want to watch this movie again because I really enjoyed this movie. It's super fun. It's a trio buddy superhero film with a fairly decent storyline of aunt and lost niece when it comes to Monica and Carol, who haven't seen each other since Captain Marvel, which was the 90s then. So it's 20 years altogether, or should I say like 25 because of the blip. And they haven't seen each other. And like that's probably the main storyline, is them two reconciling their relationship after Carol promised her when she was a kid that she would be back, and she never came back, never checked on them, and they needed her all that time. It's great. It's super fun. Obviously, and it's not the only thing, but I will say their strongest thing that they did with this movie was the device of the switching. Basically, anytime they use someone of this trio uses their power too strong, it switches them. So if I'm over here and you're over there and I decide to snap my fingers, if I do it too hard, we will switch locations. And it's super fun when they do it, specifically in the first half of the film. Someone had mentioned that they wish that they did that more when they started to learn how to do it. I thought that they could have done at least one more situation besides like the final end of them like learning how to do it. But the first action scene is I'm going to say this for myself, one of the best action scenes ever. I think the best action you can get depends on sound. Some action scenes in Kill Bill, the music is great and the music is taken away and it makes the scene even better, or put in even better. A great example of this that has both aspects of music and not music is the Crazy 88 long fight scene in Kill Bill Volume 1. Sometimes there's a musical track playing, and sometimes it's just the sound of slicing or bones cracking or breathing, you know? That's a great example of doing like a music video-esque choreographed kick-ass scene and not having that. This movie, they do it a couple times. There's one scene in particular where there's music in it, and all three of them were fighting in different situations. Even the family was helping. Kamala Khan, the Khan family was fucking hilarious. They were great. I'm glad they were in this. Anyways, it was a great fight scene. So the first half of the movie, I'm like, yeah, I love this. No notes. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. I'm scared at how much I love this movie. So the first scene, and we're not into spoiler territory yet, I'll let you know. The first scene that I didn't like was they do a very rushed plot device of this thing will link us all to look in our memories, and we can use narration to talk to each other and tell us when to pause or replay or fast forward. So they all put this thing on, they lay down, and they see some memories. And you don't one thing that could have fixed this scene is if I go, all right, let's tap in and we put this on. And then the next scene, you see like someone standing over there. You see one of the trio of the marbles standing in the background, and they're like, whoa, are we in a memory? And they go, yes, this is when your mom died. Like, that would be more interesting than hearing them go, whoa, we're all watching a memory. Like, it was very obviously like a rushed thing to help figure out how do we have spoiler territory. How do we have Monica find out that Carol saw Monica's mom when she was dying? Like, it was very obvious that they just did it for that. That was the first, and it didn't ruin the movie, and it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but it was a scene where I was like, what the fuck? I also didn't like the scene because I thought Maria Rambeau deserved so much more screen time. Not to say she needed more than a scene, but it was a very rushed goodbye scene from Carol. And I was like, what the hell, dude? That was a huge plot point of Captain Marvel. How are you guys gonna just shoehorn her goodbye scene like that? And you continue watching the movie and you see that's not the last you see of her. Anyways, so that was one thing I didn't like. Another thing I didn't like that I must say, as I was watching this very, very long sequence, too long if you ask me, and if you don't, I'll tell you, it's a too long of a scene. Everyone I was with, they said that they loved it. They said that it was really funny. They were cracking up. I could see that my mom doesn't watch superhero movies, but she would love this. She would love this scene so much. She would want to watch all of MCU. There are people in this world that love this scene. I fucking hated the kitten scene. I hated it. It was a very blatant pandering to audiences. And it was the Galifianakis effect again. As per usual, I mention weekly that what ruined Hangover Parts 2 and 3 was focusing way too much time on starring the funniest character from the first film, who was hilarious, because you got him in small doses. Thus, every time you have him, it's a treat. If you focus on him, that treat gets a little stale because you're just eating that treat the whole time. You're not getting it sometimes, you know? That was the cat in Captain Marvel. It was hilarious because you had it in little bits. And I believe the reveal of him being like a tentacle monster thing happened towards the end. This movie did it throughout the movie. That cat was tentacle monstering the entire movie until finally a bunch of kittens do a very long scene of, it is funny. Don't get me wrong. The thing that was funny about it was people running for their lives, trying not to be eaten by kittens. Like that, I was like, that's kind of funny. But what's funnier to me is overhead, you hear, no, let them eat you. You will not be harmed. They're trying to save you, when they're violently eating these people, but it is to save them. So like that aspect was funny, and it was funny in theory. And I think I wouldn't even complain about it one bit if it wasn't a 3-minute scene. Like, it's a long scene, and it almost ruined the movie for me. I'm not gonna lie, but like I said, no one else I know disliked that scene. So that's, if you like that scene, let me know in the comments. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments. But I did not like that scene at all. What else? Before we talk about the end. The sing-along planet I didn't like. I thought it was stupid. But again, some other people I went with, they thought it was hilarious. I thought, again, in theory, this is funny, but they had a very long sing-along scene. You know, just don't ruin your joke by making it the longest thing ever. But then again, like, I realize I'm a person that's wrong about a lot of shit. Like, I think I know movies, but I'm wrong a lot of times. And I will say I was wrong that the kitten scene wasn't going to translate. I knew the kitten scene was going to translate with people, but I didn't think with everyone that I was with that they loved it that much. So it is a preference of taste when it comes to anything that I review. I might be wrong a lot of the times, but I think I have good justifications of why I'm right all of the time. The sing-along scene was a little long for me. And finally, before we talk about the big reveal, overall, popping or not, it's popping. I think it's popping for everyone. I think everyone will enjoy this movie. I think people will have problems with it, but I think all of them will be not that big. And I think anyone who thinks that this movie's going to suck, they will be surprised that it's at least not as bad as they think it's going to be. The things that I'm complaining about, even though one of them, it almost ruined the movie for me, it is one scene. The things that I didn't like, there's only a handful of things I didn't like about this movie. But overall, super fun, and I loved it. It's one of the better multiverse saga entries thus far. Yeah. Now, the after credits scene. This is a big spoiler that if you haven't read about it online, then I'm surprised. But it was announced that the X-Men were going to be joining the greater MCU. And we saw a bit of a nod of this with seeing Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier and Doctor Strange 2 when the Illuminati was meeting up. Now we have Monica Rambeau stuck in another reality where she wakes up and she sees her mom. Although she doesn't realize that she is in another reality where this mom doesn't recognize Monica, and she has a superhero outfit on, and that superhero outfit is called Binary, which is Binary Mom. This is a Carol Danvers duplicate. And it's basically something from the comic books that Captain Marvel has, because Maria Rambeau was Captain Marvel at one point. I'm not sure if she was the original or she became it later or vice versa. But in any case, she is a Captain Marvel. And apparently Binary is... There's not like... Although she has no physical body. I don't really know how to explain it, and I don't think it's that important. But apparently the internet thought that she was Storm. She's not Storm. She's still the same version of herself, but she's a Captain Marvel. Just like Maria Rambeau is Captain Marvel in Doctor Strange 2. This is a different version of a Captain Marvel. In this reality where you hear a voice, and if you're Tony, you think it's Doctor Strange, but it isn't. It's Kelsey Grammer's Beast. And I did audibly say, "Oh," and I didn't take it in yet. I'm like, okay, this is X-Men. This is the X-Men nod. This is pretty strong. And all of a sudden, you see the X-Men door, and you hear the X-Men theme in the background as the credits play. And it really was what I think everyone in the theater thought was the introduction of X-Men officially. Not like Doctor Strange 2, it was in a different reality, and this is in a different reality too. So it is like, what? But it was a very, very heavy, like, yo, X-Men though. We got one of your characters meeting the X-Men. How cool is this? It's kind of cool, I guess. When are we going to start that? I think we're going to start that officially in the next saga. And I think this reality of X-Men that we're seeing is not the X-Men that we're going to see in our MCU. I think that this is the Fox MCU that we're seeing. And it's so Hugh Jackman in them is the Fox X-Men. All right. I think Deadpool 3 is going to bring Hugh Jackman and Deadpool to kill the Fox universe, and thus introducing us to the new X-Men of our universe, if that makes sense. Very confusing, but so is this whole goddamn saga. It's a very confusing saga. I was okay with the ending. I'm not thrilled of seeing these old characters play the same characters again. when I watch whenever this new Fantastic Four, I don't want to see Miles Teller, and I don't want to see whoever the Ian Grafford, the guy from the hokey Fantastic Fours. I want to see a new casted Reed Richards. I want to see a newly casted Beast. I'm done with that universe, except for Hugh Jackman. Gladly come to Deadpool 3. But that's why I wasn't that thrilled that it was Kelsey Grammer's Beast, but I was thrilled that we're getting more X-Men shit. Even though personally I like the X-Men having their own like universe because there's so many. It's a huge world, the X-Men universe. To have the X-Men join the Avengers basically is too much when they already got all these other fucking characters. Anyways, I was okay with the end credit scene, but we do need more answers, and all we've had is more questions, and we need answers. We need them. So, poppin' or not, it's poppin'. See it in theaters. It's super fun. It's an hour and 45 minutes long, which Nia DaCosta, who is the director, said, I fought really hard for it to be no longer than an hour and 45 minutes because there's no reason for a movie to be like this, for a movie like this to be over 2 hours long. It doesn't make sense. I agree with you, Nia. I agree. And I loved your Candyman. That's right. She did the remake of Candyman, or should I say the sequel, which I thoroughly enjoyed. A lot of people were like, it was all right. I will say the murder scenes in the movie were really good. I could go more into detail of that some other time, but she also did episodes of Top Boy, and she did an independent film with Tessa Thompson called Little Woods. And it was cool to see Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie show up in this. It's a very small scene, but it was cool seeing her. Captain Marvel was dope. Monica Rambeau's, I think her actual comic book name's Photon, by the way. And Kamala Khan is awesome. She's the best part of the movie. See it just for her, but also see the movie because it's fun and it's not bad. And I think you'll have fun. If you love cats, I think you'll have fun. If you don't like cats, you're going to fucking hate this one scene I was talking about. Next up, The Killer on Netflix. I thought I was going to have much more excitement to talk about today until as the days drew nearer and nearer to this movie. David Fincher, if you don't know who he is, he's one of my favorite directors. He's probably top 3. He did the underrated The Game. He did Fight Club. He did Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He did Seven. He did Social Network. Panic Room, Alien 3, which he denounces. He hates he did Alien 3. Anyways, he did a lot of really fucking good movies. Oh, he developed Mindhunter. He did the remake of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He's an excellent director. Watch his shit. Watch all of his movies. David Fincher. He's awesome. So this movie came out on Netflix. It's called The Killer. It's about a professional assassin played by Michael Fassbender who has to fix a botched job. It is one of the most different David Fincher movies. When you hear a movie called The Killer, he also did Zodiac. Excellent film. See that. He has an affinity for serial killer stories. And what's more of a serial killer than a fucking assassin? It's super, super dope. Detective, like from Seven. I'm not sure about detective. Craig Rangoon. Craig Rangoon. You're here, Craig Rangoon. What the hell? Detective. I'm not sure about what you mean by detective, but yes, he will probably be back. I think that the MCU is going to bring at least every fucking person that we've already seen from this the universe of X-Men. Craig Rangoon, don't be mad, but I didn't answer your question this week. I'm still working on it. It's a question that needs answered very properly. So I apologize if you were looking for that in tonight's episode. I promise it will be ready by next week. I promise. Anyways, Fincher's The Killer on Netflix. It's one of the most different movies that you'll see, but it is really, really, it's really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It's just not one of the best David Fincher movies you've ever watched. And I think one of the issues is the script isn't that great. It's based on a book. which I haven't read. Maybe it's really great, but it has a lot of narration, which is a decision to help exemplify the meticulousness of this professional assassin. Sorry, Craig, of this assassin. Because you hear him justify why he kills people. I don't give a fuck. And that he's not really making a mark on society, that he's not, I kill people because so many people are born each second of the day that what I'm doing isn't causing a dent in that statistic. So it's very interesting to see this character's life. But one main thing that makes you think that this guy isn't that cool is because he talks all this shit about, like, I'm one of the best he's not a serial killer, he's a professional assassin. I'm one of the best professional assassins in the game. People call me because they know they want the job done, blah, blah, blah. All of this he's saying while he's preparing a kill. And when it comes down to it, he accidentally shoots someone else and doesn't kill his mark. And that's what the whole movie's about. They should have started with a scene of him doing his job correctly, because then I would be like, hey, his narration tracks. He is actually a really good professional assassin. Instead, I hear, oh, I'm one of the best assassins in the game. Yo, 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 stunt, stunt, stunt. And then, oh, shit, I fucked up. This is new. I swear I'm really good at my job. And I buy that he's good at his job, but still. Anyways, if you don't compare it to other David Fincher movies, I would still recommend this movie. Michael Fassbender's perfect casting. One of his final kills is from an actor that I like a lot. It was cool seeing her again. It was kind of a surprise. You will see it's about someone who's cold-hearted. It is also about someone who could get a sequel if anyone wants to do a sequel of this movie. And it's just not one of the best in the world, but I will say it's popping. And if you love David Fincher, you have to watch it. Just be prepared that it's the most Finchery thing about it is, I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure it's 9 Inch Nails doing the score again. It sounds very much like 9 Inch Nails. And there's one fight scene that's one of the best fight scenes you'll ever watch. And yes, the music helps it, but also it looks like a really painful fight scene for the actors and for the characters. All right, you can watch it on Netflix right now. Be the judge of yourself. One movie that I watched that I should not have bothered. I walked out of the theater. It's called It's a Wonderful Knife. I took a chance, okay? I don't know if this movie, I think this movie was supposed to be like a stupid comedy. It had to be. Basically, a girl on a Christmas night, there's a killer on the loose. It's this guy. And he kills the star's best. This girl's in high school, by the way. This killer kills her best friend, and the star kills the serial killer. In the opening scene, she electrocutes him, takes off the Scooby-Doo, take off the mask. Oh, it's the guy running for governor. Like, that's the opening scene. And it fast tracks to a year later where she's depressed. She's like reeling from watching her best friend be murdered. By the way, up until now, I'm like, yep, this is okay. You know, production value looks pretty good. Joel McHale plays the dad. Justin Long plays the serial killer. Justin Long's very good in it too. He plays like a snooty dude with dentures. Craig Rangoon. I don't know if you're still here. Let me know what I'm trying to say. It's the white teeth. Anyways, where was I? Oh, so it's a year later. Her family wants to go caroling, and she's like, she gets a thing of pink pajamas for Christmas, while her brother gets a new like Escalade. And she's like, "What the hell, guys? What are you doing?" And they're like, "You're just being really depressing, and you need to get over what happened to you last year. You need to let that go." Like, it's really stupid. It's unbearable. The juxtaposition of this girl being tormented by surviving being murdered and watching her best friend die, to her family going, you need to get over that. So, like, I think it was supposed to be like taken as, this is hilarious and ridiculous. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of veneers, though. I don't know what a veneer is, but veneers sound right. In any case, Justin Long has those. and he couldn't save this movie. Like, there's a lot of parts where you watch, specifically Joel McHale, kind of like look at the camera or like shrug. And I think that was Joel McHale, the actor, doing this. Like, is this it? Like, he seems like a lot of the actors don't seem like they know what they're doing in a lot of scenes. The dialogue's terrible. I think it's on purpose. I can't tell, but I couldn't sit through much more than 20 minutes of it. No one was in the theater. I didn't even know the movie was out. I just wanted to go see a free movie. And yeah, I walked out. So again, the production, the reason I decided to talk about this tonight too, by the way, is I don't like good movies being remade. We need to make it a trend to remake bad movies. This movie was a good idea. I didn't tell you. It's a year later. Everyone's telling her to get over it. She wishes upon a star and says some shit like, oh, if I kind of wish I never existed. And she now lives in a world where there's a serial killer who's been alive for the past year, who's killed 26 people, and they're successful because she never existed to stop him. And no one knows who the killer is but her. And she's in this world where she doesn't exist. So it's a cool idea. It's a great spin on It's a Wonderful Life. And it still is somewhat original, even though you're recycling the same story plot. Great idea. Terrible execution. Just terrible execution. Production-wise, it looks dope. I think the serial killer mask looks scary. Justin Long's good casting. The main actress isn't necessarily bad, but it's just like storyline wise, not good. Anyways, I don't want to just shit on this movie the whole time. I just want to warn you. But maybe you'll like it. You can see it in theaters now if you like. All right, now on to spotlight shows or limelight shows. The Curse with Nathan Fielder is out right now on Paramount Plus. New episodes Fridays. It co-stars Emma Stone. We've only seen Nathan Fielder be in the best show ever made, Nathan For You. If you haven't watched it, watch it on Hulu right now. This one's a scripted comedy, so I'm very excited. I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting to watch it with a friend. So I will tell you, it's probably popping. Get Paramount Plus, watch it, and let me know. Rap Shit is what the fuck? Rap Shit has returned with their season 2. I don't like the season too much, but the only reason I don't like it is because them two aren't friends again. And I like them being friends, and right now they're not being friends. And also, I hate the starring character. She's made decisions that are bad, which is human, but she's not doing anything to reconcile them, and it's very annoying. I love a protagonist that is very flawed and does things that you don't like, but that's because it's more of a human character that you're seeing on screen. But she's not likable in this season so far at all. I haven't caught up completely. I watched an episode and a half, but I do recommend the show. You can watch the whole first season and some of the new season on Max right now with new episodes on Thursdays. Lawmen, Bass Reeves, Paramount Plus Sundays. I checked this out. I liked it. It's 3 episodes are out right now. It's pretty dope. It's basically Black Yellowstone, but not Black Yellowstone. I thought Taylor Sheridan created it, and he didn't. I think he just executive produces. But David Oyelowo, who played Martin Luther King Jr., and also he was in this comedy. I can't remember what it was called. It was Charlize Theron. It was actually pretty good, but he does comedy and drama very well. This is definitely a drama, and he plays a really badass character. He's dope. And it starts off as like an origin story without flashbacks, where he's a runaway slave who's not a badass yet and how he gets to where he is. It also co-stars Donald Sutherland as well. So it is popping. Check it out and get Paramount Plus Sundays. Colin from Accounts we talked about already. All right, coming attractions. We're going to do this quick. This is what's coming out next week that I think will be popping, or at least worth maybe your time. You tell me. Thanksgiving. Now, this movie is written and directed by Eli Roth. It is the first Thanksgiving horror movie. If not the first, then one of the few. If you don't know who Eli Roth is, he did Hostel, Hostel Part 2. He did Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas. If you haven't watch it right now. It's called Knock Knock. Hostel and Hostel 2. I actually prefer Hostel 2. Great horror movies. Check those out. What else has he done? Check real quick for you. Oh, Cabin Fever. That's a classic. He was in Death Proof. He is the Bear Jew in Inglourious Bastards. He's a great director who knows horror. If you haven't watched it yet, watch. If you like Bobby Lee, or if you don't like Bobby Lee, you should like Bobby Lee. He's awesome. But Eli Roth was on an episode recently, and he talks about horror films nonstop, and he's a nerd for him. All right. So Thanksgiving. This movie is based off of a fake trailer in the film called Grindhouse, written and directed by Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Not enough people have watched it. It's one of the best horror things that's ever come out. Watch it. Now, Grindhouse has fake previews in the beginning of the movie and in the middle of the movie. And it's basically two movies based on Grindhouse films from back in the day where you pay for one ticket and that will get you to watch two really violent, sexual, dirty, like film dirty movies. So Robert Rodriguez directed and wrote Planet Terror, which is super fun and super ridiculous. It's really good. Check it out. Bruce Willis is in it. Freddie Rodriguez, Rose McGowan, and Quentin Tarantino did Death Proof, which is awesome, by the way. I love Quentin Tarantino, though. Kurt Russell, Rose McGowan, Rosario Dawson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It's great. Watch Grindhouse. Apparently, it's on Tubi. But that is how Machete came out, because they did fake trailers. Robert Rodriguez directed one for Machete, which they eventually made, and they made Machete Kills. We're still waiting for Machete Kills in space. Sorry, I know I'm nerding out right now. Eli Roth did a Thanksgiving trailer. Edgar Wright did a trailer for a movie called Don't. And who was the last person that did a trailer? Rob Zombie did one too. Anyways, he made it a full-length feature film, just like Robert Rodriguez did for Machete. Eli Roth did for Thanksgiving. I think it's about a serial killer. It's a slasher movie on Thanksgiving. I don't know much else about it. I've stayed away from the trailers. It's gonna be one of those like comedic, like hokey horror movies. I'm very excited for. It will pop. It's coming out Thursday. Hunger Games, the prequel film, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or some shit. This stars the new Snow White, who everyone loves. Rachel Ziegler, I think her name is. I think I'm gonna watch it. I hated the last two Hunger Games along with everyone else. Hunger Games Catching Fire was super fucking good. Way better than I thought it was going to be. And Hunger Games 2, 3, and 3 Part 2 sucked. So I didn't watch those. Yeah, they sucked. But Catching Fire was so good. And also the storyline of like a bunch of kids having to fight to the death until there's one winner. Like that's a cool storyline too. It's battle royale. In any case, I kind of want to watch it for that because this was a movie I didn't care about. So I watched the trailer and I was like, I really want to watch this for Viola Davis and I really want to watch this for Peter Dinklage. But that does not mean the movie's very good. Maybe the paychecks are really good. But from the little clips you see of the actual Hunger Games being fought, it looks really dope. So I think I'm going to go see it. Plus, I like Francis Lawrence. He did, besides the first one, all of the Hunger Games. And he even admitted to fucking up the third one by making it 2 movies. In any case, he also did Constantine, and I love Constantine. And he did I Am Legend, and I loved I Am Legend. He's a great director, so maybe this will be good. But it's obviously a cash grab. Next, will it pop? I think the Hunger Games will pop. I think the grand story is going to be like, I think it's going to be, it's going to try really hard to reflect with the times of today. And it's going to be very easy to pinpoint like what environmental issues that they're satirizing or just doing metaphors for in general. But I think the actual Hunger Games action scenes are going to be pretty dope. And Rachel Ziegler, you put controversy aside, she's a really great actress. So I like her a lot. acting. Next, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Next goal wins. This is Taika Waititi, and people that were sitting next to me were like, I don't know, this looks stupid. I'm like, no, I do think the trailer hasn't done what the movie's justice is going to be. This is based on a true story of like one of the worst football teams in the history of the world, maybe. I'm not sure. Michael Fassbender again. I just realized that. It's rare that you talk about him twice because he's not in many things these days. But anyways, he has to coach the worst team ever. And it's about how they win only one game. It's not the championship or anything like that. It's about how they win one game. If it wasn't for the fact that Taika Waititi did this, by the way, he did Thor Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, which I loved, which everyone else hates. What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, and some of the TV show. And he's a great director. Oh, Jojo Rabbit. I know I'm missing others. He's a great director. He's doing this. It looks good. It looks funny. It'll pop. It's coming out Thursday. I think everyone should go see this. Out of what we talked about so far, I think that everyone should go see Thanksgiving. Hunger Games, I don't think is going to be that special. And Next Goal Wins, I think everyone should go see. Streaming wise, Rustin. This is not Rustin. I forgot to put a picture of Rustin. Rustin is coming out. Damn it. This is annoying me. Rustin is coming out on Netflix. It stars Domingo Coleman as Bayard Rustin, who is the advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. and dedicates his life to the quest for racial equality, human rights, and worldwide democracy. Coleman Domingo, if you don't remember him, he's from Euphoria. He plays Rue's sponsor. Great actor. Very excited for the film. Netflix Friday, Rustin. What the fuck? Oh, it's just out of order. This is Rustin. Go see Rustin. This is May, December. This is coming out in select theaters November 17th. I don't think this is coming out around us, but it stars Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. I can't tell if she's attracted to her or she's just trying to take over her life, but it seems like a sexy thriller. And I love Natalie Portman. Julianne Moore, she actually picks very good products, very good projects, but she's a phenomenal actress. She's a great actress. Anyways, Rustin. All right, Blackberry. This movie has been out for a while in select theaters and streaming, but you've had to rent it unless you have AMC Plus. It's coming out tomorrow on AMC Plus. It's about how BlackBerry was created. It looks very similar to like Steve Jobs, and it does star Glenn Howerton and Jay Baruchel, which awesome. And it's more of a drama than a comedy, but I've heard really good things. Like, it's a really, really good movie. So check it out. I'm going to tomorrow. Biosphere on AMC Plus Friday. This is... I don't want to... I know that these two play characters that are the last men on Earth. It's post-apocalyptic. It's a comedy. That's Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown. Interesting pairing, who I think are going to have a lot of great comedic chemistry. But Mark Duplass is an excellent writer and a really good actor. I don't think he directed this either, but looks pretty good. Biosphere. AMC Plus Friday. I don't know about this one. Please Don't Destroy the Movie. The Treasure of Foggy Mountains, going to be on Peacock November 17th. If you don't know who Please Don't Destroy is, I think they're a very popular comedic group that is on SNL right now. They're basically the new Lonely Island. And I think the only reason I'm a hater is because I'm like, man, you guys are obviously supposed to be replacing Lonely Island, but you'll never be Lonely Island no matter how hard you tried. I've watched a few of their videos and they're okay. They're funny. They're just, I just can't stop comparing them to Lonely Island. And when you're comparing almost anyone to a Lonely Island, you look like shit. But they're fairly funny, and I see that they're successful with their views anyway on YouTube. So this movie's probably going to be funny. And I'm going to watch it because Conan O'Brien's in it, and I love Conan. Peacock, Friday. Will it pop? I think we'll all find it funny. I just think it won't be pop star. Dashing through the snow, Disney Plus Friday. Come one, come all, and check out Lil Rel and Ludacris in a Christmas comedy where Lil Rel plays Santa Claus. Ludacris plays a disgruntled father who eventually says the line, "Man, that's ludicrous." It's the only part of the trailer I was like, I don't know about this movie, but everything else, it looks fun. It's good that we're getting the Black Santa. I don't know if we've gotten like a mainstream Black Santa. If we have, it's been a very long time. And Lil Rel's really fun. I really want to. I started The Mill, that horror movie that came out on Hulu a while ago. I just haven't finished it, and I want to check it out because I do like Lil Rel. The beginning one I saw, I was like, actually, he's not bad in this. So I'm glad that he's got a good agent. And this is a great opportunity for a new classic Christmas movie. I actually don't know what it's about. It apparently he's getting like Santa Claus getting chased by like evil elves or some shit. I don't know. Anyways, Dashing Through the Snow, Disney Plus Friday. Will it pop? I think it'll pop enough. It'll pop. Best Christmas ever. Starring Heather Graham and Brandy. Heather Graham and Brandy. Why not? Heather Graham was in a horror movie that I haven't watched yet that I'm going to. It's called Suitable Flesh. And she's coming out with this too. She seems to be having a like smaller movie comeback. And Brandy, I haven't seen in forever. Anyways, best Christmas ever. I don't really know what it's about. Oh, Brandy's character, I think they play neighbors or like friends or something. And Brandy's character has like the perfect life, and Heather Graham does not have the perfect life. And she keeps comparing herself. She's trying to find out what's wrong with Brandy's life, and it's really due to envy, not because anything seems suspicious. But maybe something is going on, but I don't think anything is going on. Anyways, it looks like a Hallmark movie. I don't think I will watch it. It's definitely not made for me, but it's cool to see Brandy and Heather Graham. So maybe, I don't know. If I hear it's good, maybe I'll watch it. But it does look like a basic Hallmark Christmas movie. Television-wise, the thing I'm most excited about next weekend is Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. This is the Kurt Russell / Wyatt Russell playing same character Godzilla / King Kong universe. What is this universe called? I think it's called Legendary Monster Universe. Anyways, Godzilla versus Kong, that universe of movies, Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, and Kong X Godzilla coming out next year is the mini series. I don't know what they're planning on doing with this, but it's called Monarch, which is about the organization, which I think is on Skull Island. And it's about other monsters that's not only Godzilla and Kong. I don't think Kong is set to appear in the show, but apparently Godzilla is. It does have, I think I watched some of the trailer. I tried not to watch any of the trailer, but I watched some things and it looks really fucking good. But I think it has events that coincide before the events that we have seen in the first Godzilla of this series, which was in 2008 or 9, and the Bryan Cranston one. I think it takes place at the same time as that. Maybe it jumps back to Skull Island. Anyways, this looks really fucking good. I'm very excited. I think it will pop. Apple TV Plus Friday. I don't have Apple TV Plus anymore. I'm getting it back Friday, y'all. A Murder at the End of the World. I don't know what this is about, but it looks like Clive Owen is going to be the serial killer. And the reason I think that this show is going to be really fucking good, I think it's going to be a cult classic, is Britt Marling does this show. She did the OA, which people fucking loved. I liked the OA. I liked it enough to watch all the episodes. Maybe not season 2. Anyway, she also did Another Earth, which I really fucking love. The East, which was fairly good. The Sound of My Voice, which is very good. She does little indie films with, I can't pronounce his name. I'm very not good at it. Zal. Oh shit, where fuck. Oh, they didn't do that movie together? Oh, I thought they did Another Earth together. Well, they didn't, so you know what? Maybe I don't like their stuff. The fuck is his name? Zal Batmanglij. So they write together, he directs, she stars. Anyways, back to this. They did another series, and it looks, I think it's a mystery thriller. It sounds like it, a murder at the end of the world. I don't know if I don't think it's sci-fi or anything. And I don't know if it's going to be good, but I do trust Britt Marling, and it's been a while since I've seen something that's like as good as older Clive Owen films, but I do love Clive Owen, and if he's playing the killer, it's probably going to be good. Murder at the End of the World, Hulu Tuesday. It's going to be a good week of new shit. Scott Pilgrim takes off on Netflix November 17th. If you love Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which you can watch on Netflix right now, you will probably enjoy the anime adaptation of the graphic novel, which will probably have a shit ton of nods to the movie, which includes the entire cast of the movie again, which is super dope. Even Chris Evans and Superman. So, popping or not, I think it's going to pop. I just know I'm not going to like it half as much as the movie, but I like that they got the whole cast together. I like that Edgar Wright is involved, but I don't think he directed anything. But Brian Lee O'Malley was the head of everything. So that's cool to see this comic book artist have such cool control and adaptations being made, just like the video game too. So yeah, the anime's Friday. Personally, I don't think I'm going to love it that much. I watched the trailer and I don't really like the animation style, which is no shot to the animators. It's just visually speaking, I'm like, I don't know about this, but we'll see. And finally, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm sure you're going to. I think this show is extremely well made. There's just a shit ton of staring. But The Crown final season, one of the most popular Netflix shows as such, it will be released in 2 parts. Part 1 drops on Netflix Thursday, and part 2 will be in a month, December 14th. So be wary of that. If you watched this, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. The episodes are getting longer and longer. That's not good. I'm watching too much stuff, even though I've been watching less, but I talk a lot more. You guys take care. Thank you so much for watching. Send in your poppin' questions or your criticisms or requests for anything. I got to do more things. I'm trying to do more things. Have a good night.